Before Deliveroo, before meal deals and microwave dinners, British food had its own rhythm. Families gathered around the table for hearty, home-style meals, the kind of dishes that defined an entire generation. But somewhere between the rise of fast food and the obsession with healthy eating, some of Britain's most iconic meals quietly disappeared. From school dinners to Sunday favourites, these weren't just recipes. They were part of growing up in the UK. So how many of these vanished British meals do you still remember? Stick around, because the final one was banned for a reason that will surprise you. The ultimate winter comfort food. Thick, slow-cooked beef stew with fluffy suet dumplings. Every family had their own version. Some added ale, some used OXO cubes, others kept it simple. But by the late 90s, quick dinners and supermarket-ready meals took over. The slow-simmering Sunday pot became a lost art. Who still remembers your nan's beef stew? Comment Team Stew if you grew up with that smell filling the house on Sundays. Born out of wartime rationing, but became a nostalgic school dinner classic. Deep-fried slices of Spam in golden batter. Greasy, salty, and oddly comforting. Every 80s and early 90s kid remembers the smell wafting through the school canteen. By the 2000s, schools phased them out for healthier options. Love them or hate them, they were a British lunchbox legend. Vanilla ice cream wrapped in a layer of jam and sponge cake, the ultimate retro dessert, a staple of every childhood birthday or Sunday treat. In the 80s and 90s, it lived in every family freezer, next to the bird's eye fish fingers. But as fancier desserts arrived, the humble Arctic roll melted into history. You can still find it occasionally, but it's no longer the household icon it once was. A dish that divided the nation. Your mum either made it weekly or banned it from the kitchen. Pan-fried liver with caramelized onions and rich gravy. Packed with iron and flavor, it was a traditional staple through the 70s and 80s. But as taste changed, offal lost its appeal. By the 90s, many kids dreaded the smell, and parents quietly retired it. The original waste-not dish, made from leftover roast potatoes, cabbage, and veggies fried together until crispy. Its name came from the sound it made in the pan. For decades, it was the Monday night meal after a Sunday roast. But ready-made meals and changing work patterns meant fewer leftovers, and bubble and squeak slowly disappeared from most homes. Who still makes bubble and squeak after a Sunday roast? Let's see how many of the old-school crew are here. The pudding of childhood, rolled suet pastry filled with jam, drowned in custard, served in schools, at home, even in pubs. Comforting, cheap, and undeniably British. But as low-fat and convenience desserts took over, the roly-poly rolled right off the menu. Imported from Eastern Europe but embraced as a British dinner staple in the 80s and 90s. Crispy coating, garlicky butter center, simple but satisfying. For many kids, this was their first posh meal from the freezer aisle. But the influx of new cuisines and gourmet ready meals pushed it aside. Recently, it's made a small comeback, but it will never be the same as the bird's eye classic of the 90s. Yorkshire pudding batter with sausages baked inside. The ultimate comfort food. Served with onion gravy, it was a midweek hero in countless British households. But in the age of air fryers and meal preps, few people bother to make it anymore. Once a school favourite, now a relic of simpler times. Yes, this was a real thing. Bread with butter and sugar sprinkled on top. 70s and 80s kids grew up on them, when sweets were rare and cheap snacks mattered. By the late 90s, sugar shaming killed it off. But for many, it's the ultimate reminder of being a carefree kid in Britain. Fried potatoes, onions, and chunks of corned beef. A proper working-class favourite. Quick, cheap, and filling. Every family made it differently, but all shared one thing. It was pure comfort. As health trends rose, corned beef's reputation fell, and so did this iconic dish. These meals weren't just about taste. They were about togetherness. They remind us of cold evenings, steaming plates, and the sound of family chatter around the table. But as Britain modernized and the microwave replaced the oven, many of these classic meals faded away. Some disappeared for health reasons, others simply because life got busier. Yet for those who grew up in the 80s or 90s, these dishes are more than nostalgia. They're a snapshot of who we were. And even if we never make them again, we'll never forget the smell of gravy, custard, or frying onions filling the kitchen. If this video brought back memories of your childhood dinners, do me a favor. Hit like and subscribe for more British 80s and 90s throwbacks, and share it with someone who still misses proper home-cooked food. Now tell me in the comments, which of these British meals do you wish would make a comeback? And what's your most nostalgic comfort food from growing up in the UK?